Hey, Park Hills, we just finished our annual congregational meeting, and so we thought we would just fill you in on some of the things that we talked about there, but then also just talk about who we are, where we're going, and some of the things you can look forward to being a part of over the next few years. You know, we're a church that is all about knowing, loving, and following Jesus together. That's really the heart of who we are. It is the idea of discipleship that we've chosen to stick with. Jesus calls us to make disciples, and really we believe Jesus calls us to make disciples who make disciples who make disciples. And so the heart of Park Hills has been discipleship for a really long time. The idea that we come alongside one another together and teach people how to know who Jesus is, how to love him, and then ultimately how to follow him. And as we follow him and as we walk with him and grow, we push our roots down deep and we become what Psalm 1 tells us, that, you know, a righteous man who walks with Jesus, or a righteous woman who walks with Jesus. So that's our hope. That's what we're aiming to do. And really, nothing has changed about who Park Hills is, and nothing's going to change about who Park Hills is in the years to come. When I hear a word like vision, sometimes people think, he's going to change everything. No. What I love about who we are is absolutely staying. But I'm seeing us grow, which is exciting. So it means that we've stuck to what Jesus has called us to do. And with that, we're growing. We're growing numerically, which I'm excited about. We have people pushing out all over the place in our Freeport campus and our Winnebago campus. They're both feeling tight in a couple of different services, a couple of different places. So that has me excited about the numerical growth, but then it also has me more excited about the spiritual growth. We've had conversations with marriages that have been saved and people who have pushed addictions aside and have walked with Jesus and decided to follow him in really difficult areas of their life. That excites me. And a lot of that is happening because people are diving deeper together through life groups, which is really the vehicle of discipleship here at Park Hills. You want to be a part of what Park Hills is doing? Sure, there's Sunday morning, but I also want you to be involved in a life group. A life group is the way in which we take knowing, loving, following Jesus together and we make it practical. We're a big church, and you can sort of show up on a Sunday and disappear on a Sunday without anybody really talking to you. And we're going to let you do that for a little while if you want, but we really want to drive you into a smaller community of people who are going to show you what it looks like to follow Jesus. And so through those life groups, we're going to create helps that are going to provide spaces for you to learn what disciple making is and then pass it on to the people around you. Some of those helps are going to come in different forms. We're working on a few different strategies right now that I'm pretty excited about. So look forward to thinking over the next couple of years, I want to disciple someone. I don't know how to start. Well, we're going to give you some routes to take that'll make it easier for you to jump in and be a disciple maker with us. With that growth come the need for projects. Pastor Rich has done an awesome job with maintaining some aspects of our Winnebago campus and also bringing some really exciting things here to our Freeport campus. We've seen solar, we've fixed the east parking lot, and we fixed the water issues that we had. Most of you didn't even know we had water in our basement at times when there was a heavy rain, but that's all been mitigated now, and I'm really grateful for Rich and his team and all that they've done to save us money through solar and to provide good parking lots here at our Freeport campus. And in the same sense, we've had some beautiful things happen at Winnebago campus as well that have prepared us for the next steps. But because of the growth that I'm talking about, we're going to have some challenges in the years to come. And so we want to address those very soon. Our Winnebago campus needs space to expand. We have dozens of people who are serving Jesus and following Jesus on Sunday mornings there, but it's getting too tight. And so we're starting to think through what's going to take for us to add on to the Winnebago campus and provide space for them to not only worship on Sundays, but have midweek programming and other things that don't feel cramped, that don't feel like they're too tight. On top of that, our Freeport campus, we have the need for some bathrooms by our sanctuary, our worship center, and then also the gym carpet is getting pretty old. And so we're thinking through what it would take to maybe bundle a few of these things together and then provide that information to the congregation and then ask for folks to step up and help us make this happen. You'll have more information on that in the near future, but just so you know, those are some of the things we're working on. We're also working on being a regional influence. I talked about this last year, that we already are a regional influence. We had a prayer meeting with pastors a few weeks ago that really was exciting and encouraging to them, and they're looking forward to what we have next, which I'm hoping leads to an all-day summit this spring for all local pastors and their staff for Northwestern Illinois and Southwestern Wisconsin to meet together and to just encourage one another and show each other what it looks like to follow Jesus right here in this area and how to lead churches in this area. I'm spearheading this idea that we would come together as pastors and encourage one another and then learn from one another as to how to actually change our region and show people what it looks like to follow Jesus. If those things are exciting to you, I'd love to have you jump in. It's time. it's time. I'd ask the question, why haven't you jumped in yet? Many of us come to church. We're a part of it. We love Park Hills, and so we just love getting what we can get from Park Hills. I'd say it's time to jump in. If you're not serving in a ministry, it's probably time. That's a great place to grow in our relationship with Jesus and to learn how to lead and how to guide a ministry. And so I want to see you jump in, whether that be through a ministry first or maybe jump in with your finances. If you haven't started giving yet to Park Hills, it's a great time to do so. You'll notice we don't talk about money much. It's not really a big thing that we talk about here. In fact, me bringing it up on this video is kind of awkward for me, but it's one of those things that we can come to Park Hills and be a part of it, but we're never fully going to experience what God's called us to do unless we jump in with both feet. And I would say that's through ministry, that's through giving, and then I think that's through helping guide our church. Because we really talk about discipleship as this idea that it's a lifelong journey of following Jesus. We call it our DDP, our description of a discipled person. And that is that we'll love God and his word. That's going to cause us to love others. It's going to cause us to be dependent on prayer, dependent on his spirit, that we're going to live our life out as worship, as a response to his goodness to us, that we'll be obedient to his call and his commands because of his love for us. And then that we'd be a life that bears fruit, that we'd share our faith and that we'd share what God has given us by his spirit to change us from the inside out, that we would grow in the fruit of the spirit and pass this on to people. I'm really passionate about that, and I think you should be too. And the only way to really experience that and to jump in is to get involved, whether that be helping out in a ministry or definitely getting involved in a life group. And I'd recommend both. Have a life group, have a ministry that you serve in, and then I'd love for you to jump in and be a part of what we're doing financially as well. Because our goal is that you would grow. As you attend, as you're a part of Park Hills, our goal is that you're going to grow as a disciple, that you're going to take that idea of the DDP and you're going to grow and develop into that Psalm 1 person that I mentioned in the beginning of this video. I also want you to share. I want you to share your faith. I want you to share what God's given you. I want you to share all the things that God has provided and give back to your church and to your church family. I'm sure that a lot of us are helping a lot of different people out, but I would love to see us focus our energy on what God could do, whether that be through those building projects I talked about a little while ago or just through giving on a Sunday morning. And finally, I want us to be people who are guiding. We need a guide at our homes, whether that be our family, whether that be the people that we invite into our homes. Maybe it's friends that just come over for dinner and they're struggling through something. How great would it be if you were so confident in following Jesus that you could guide someone through a problem that they were dealing with? That'd be beautiful. Or how neat would it be if you could guide people at work to walk the walk and to live it out? What if you could guide the ministries here at Park Hills? I would love for someone to step into the base level of, say, Awana and be someone that just helps out on a Wednesday night here in Freeport or in Winnebago on Wednesday night. And a couple of years later, be a team leader. And then later on, maybe even lead the entire ministry and help our ministry staff lead the ministry and guide. And so we're excited to see what God's going to do next, and I hope you are too. And so over these next few years, those are some of the things you can look forward to. Those are some of the projects we're going to bring to the table, and those are some of the helps that we're going to provide to really guide us to who we need to be as a church. We want to see you grow. We want to see you share. We want to see you guide. And may you be that at Park Hills. So thanks so much for listening. Looking forward to see what God has for us next.